Center for Promotion of Private Enterprise, CPPE, is calling for the removal of the electronic evaluator and electronic invoicing introduced by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Central Bank of Nigeria, effective February the 1st, said all import and export operations would require the submission of an electronic invoice authenticated by authorized dealer banks on the Nigeria Single Window Price Portal Trade Monitoring System. The CPPE says the e-invoice and e-evaluator policy will increase transaction costs, entrench red tape, increase uncertainty, and escalate business disruption. And we're very happy to have the man himself, Dr. Muda Yusuf, CEO of the Center for Promotion of Private Enterprise, to discuss further. Doctor, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Rotus.
Happy New Year. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so Doctor, let's we're talking during the break. Very intense debates here. What's the challenges facing trade in Nigeria?
Well, the international trade process is a very, very difficult environment to operate in. You recall that even Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, DG WTO, stated that trade costs in Nigeria is one of the highest in the world. And she put it at an equivalent of 306% tariff. You know, that's an indication of the challenges that the economic players are facing in this economy. Talk to any importer or exporter. If there is any sector where there is a whole lot of frustrations as far as operational issues are concerned, it is in the trade sector. We have issues of very bureaucratic processes. You have issues of overlapping regulation. You have issues of sometimes even very high tariffs. You have issues of absence of credible dispute resolution system. You have all manner of issues. Then you have issues of infrastructure, capacity of the port to handle the volume of import and export. You have issues of logistics in and out of the ports. You have issues of the fact that you have some of the players in that sector that are also monopolies. I know what it is when you are dealing with monopolies. It's take it or leave it. Talking about terminal operators, shipping companies, and all of that. So people face a whole lot of issues around issues of the international trade process. And all of these things are aggravating or escalating the cost of trade, making the economy even less competitive, and not even compliant with the whole idea of ease of doing business. Because if you look at the ease of doing business agenda of government, one area where we have not made significant progress is in the area of cross-border trade or international trade. And it's as a result of all of these issues. So you also have too many agencies, too many desks, absence of technology. It's not technology-driven. You still examine cargo physically. You know, all of these things put a whole lot of pressures on investors in this economy. And we are talking about economic recovery, creation of jobs. This is one area that we need to focus on. So rather than introduce things that will further complicate the problems, I think we should be focused more on how to alleviate the challenges that people are facing.
I wish the cameras were on when we're talking during the break. You mentioned technological innovation, right?
Yes.
ETO at the ports.
Yes.
What about the human elements? Because that was technology and innovation that was supposed to be introduced.
Yes.
So is the human elements, you mentioned...
The human element is a very important element. Not just in the ports, but in all aspects of our national life. If you don't have the discipline to get, no matter how much technology you bring into the place, I mean, the technology will not work by itself.
Yes.
You need people to operate the technology. And if you don't have that kind of discipline among the people who are supposed to operate the technology, you come back to square one. You still have the same problem. So the problem we are having with this ETO thing is a question of discipline, a question of corruption, extortion, and institutional weakness. And the fact that you also have too many centers of authorities. All the players around this ecosystem of moving things in and out of the port, they are reporting to different authorities. The police is reporting to a different authority. You have LASMA, you have NPA, you have the customs, you have the terminal operators, you have the shipping companies. So when you have this kind of diverse, kind of reporting, nobody is answering to anybody. So you need a kind of unified structure of command and the political will to make things happen, to ensure that there are consequences for infractions and there are rewards for good performance. That needs to be put in place in that, because if there is no discipline, no system can work.
Then it won't work. Okay, so now let's get to it.
Yes.
The electronic invoicing introduced by the central bank. There are advantages to invoicing, are there not? Or what's your issue?
You see, the issue is that we have enough troubles already in this international trade process.
Okay.
What the CBN is trying to do, of course, we all support the idea of curbing malpractices around the foreign exchange, over-invoicing.
Right.
And what the CBN is trying to do is to check over-invoicing, capital flight, and all of that. That is fine. But we already have a structure of valuation with the Nigeria Customs.
Okay.
They have a whole department, and if there is any challenge that even importers are facing right now, as far as international trade process is concerned, is the challenge of valuation and the challenge of classification.
Okay.
Because the customs have dual purpose or dual objectives. There's the objective of trade facilitation, there's the objective of revenue generation. And what we have seen is that the revenue generation objective has practically overwhelmed the other objective of trade facilitation.
Yes.
So that is why we keep having issues of, ease of doing business. So the valuation issue is a major function of the Nigeria Customs. Right from the point of PAR, pre-arrival assessment reports, they query the value of your products, of your imports. You come to reports, you have the valuation unit, you have the CIU, you have the FOU, you have all manner of people. And because the objective is issue of revenue generation, the constant query that we get from the customs is the fact that people are not declaring the right value. That's undervaluation.
Yes.
So because the revenue, the customer wants to generate more revenue, most of the times they revise up the value of the invoice. And they say that people are undervalued because they don't want to pay duty. Now you have the CBN saying that people are overvaluing because they want to
collect FX.
Collect FX. You can see the quandary that is being created for importers. On one side, you are dealing with customs who is accusing you of undervaluation. Now you are talking about CBN accusing you of overvaluation. So the point to make here is that rather than the CBN setting up a parallel structure, the customs, first of all, has the statutory responsibility in this area. Because this is a trade policy process. It's not the primary function of the central bank. But the central bank is rightly interested in this.
Because of the FX dynamic.
Because of the FX dynamic. So what needs to happen first is to ensure collaboration with an existing structure.
Okay. You've asked my next question.
Yes, rather than setting up a parallel structure, because it's going to create another bureaucracy. I know what bureaucracy means in this system. It distorts trade, it creates a lot of disruption, and it creates a very high corruption risk.
Dr. Shu, I only have a couple of minutes. With the challenges that customs, that's why I asked you about ETO first before we got to this. With the challenges that customs has faced in its other areas of its, are you confident that, if saying that the CBN shouldn't get involved, are you confident that customs can handle this? Because this is why we're here now. Because customs challenges. So are you confident in customs' ability?
The ETO issue is not just customs.
Right,
it's basically Nigerian Port Authority.
Right.
Now, customs has its issues. And every organization has one issue or the other. We cannot, because of that, now completely jettison what they are doing and set up a parallel institution. That will be creating a lot more compliance burden, regulatory burden on the operators in the economy. So whatever it is, they are both agencies of government.
Yes.
And this government have spoken repeatedly about the significance of synergy among institutions.
Okay.
Whatever the gaps are, they can interrogate it. They can point it out. It can be corrected. So our point is that we should not set up a parallel institution. We should work with customs. That is one. Secondly, the CBN should deal with the fundamental issue of subsidy in foreign exchange. Because all of these problems around abuses in the FX environment are a reflection of the subsidy in the official window. Because for as long as you have this huge premium, you have an official rate of 415 or 416. You have a parallel rate of 570. That is a recipe for abuse. We should deal with the fundamentals. The CBN should allow the market to function. The CBN should stop obstructing the market. The more you obstruct the market, the more you create all this problem of policing the system. How many people are you going to police?
Doctor,
this is the way to go. This is not sustainable. It's not sustainable. So the way to deal with this is to remove these incentives for round tripping. Because a huge demand is there in the official window because people want to round trip.
Deep conversation.
We need to remove that.
Dr. Muda Yusuf, CEO of the Center for Promotion of Private Enterprise.
You didn't have time to engage me.
I know, right? Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you coming in.